And now with Iran being an essential part behind the current war, backing Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, we're now joined by Yoni Ben Menachem, journalist and senior research fellow at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, who tweeted about Hezbollah's intentions to escalate tensions on the northern border as soon as the IDF enters southern Gaza. Yoni, the Houthis are now not only firing rockets towards Eilat, but also seizing partially owned Israeli ships in the Red Sea. Does Israel have any military solution here?
I think that this is a very big problem for Israel, and every Israeli response will have to be coordinated with the United States because the Houthis are a big challenge for Israel. They are far away from Israel, more than 2,000 kilometers, but they are trying to put pressure on Israel. Of course, this is by the orders of Iran. In order to force Israel to stop the war in Gaza and actually save Hamas from destruction. And after they failed in launching drones and missiles towards Israel, all of these drones and missiles were intercepted by Israel or by the Americans. Now they're trying a new method, which is threatening the Israeli ships who sail in the Red Sea. And they took over one ship, the Galaxy Leader, which is not Israeli. It's only a partial ownership of an Israeli businessman, and there were no Israelis aboard the ship, but they're still claiming that it's an Israeli ship. And this is a very worrying sign because they threaten to paralyze all the Israeli ships that sail in the Red Sea and actually put a blockade on Israel, preventing Israeli ships from importing and exporting through the Red Sea. This is very dangerous.
That's very dangerous and very worrying. Yoni, I want to go back to my lead where I said about your tweet that Hezbollah wants to escalate tensions if the IDF will enter the south. By now, of course, we don't know the plans and we're not going to reveal them here, but we know that the IDF is planning to go into the south. So what do we know about Hezbollah wanting to do there? Of course, backed by Iran.
Actually, what I tweeted in my Twitter account was an estimation that is heard in the Gaza Strip by Palestinians who are associated with Hamas. And they estimate, maybe it's a wishful thinking, we don't know, but they estimate that if the IDF will go to a big military incursion in Khan Yunis area and Rafah area, which are in the south of Gaza Strip, then the Hezbollah in the north of the border with Israel, they will escalate and make a greater escalation and attack Israel with more missiles and drones into the death of Israel. This is also very dangerous. We have to wait and see. Israel will have to make it very clear and warn Hezbollah that if they do that, then they should expect a strong reaction from Israel.
Of course, we know, of course, there are thousands of soldiers there on the northern border. Yoni, what is the relationship between Iran and the Houthis? Are the Iranians calling the shots and prompting their attacks all the way from Yemen?
Yes, of course, the Iranians are orchestrating the whole war on Israel. This is a war of attrition that started 3 weeks ago from all the proxies of Iran all over the Middle East. It's coordinated by Iran. And they are responsible for all the escalation that happened.
Yes, and Iran is encouraging or discouraging, forcing or not forcing Hezbollah to confront Israel on the northern front while not fully crossing the line into war. I mean, Iran sort of like, directing all the others, but staying in its spot. Khamenei, not sure he wants something else.
Right. This is the art of working behind the scenes of the Iranians without fingerprints. They are not. You cannot prove that they are in charge of what is happening. There is no smoking gun. They are working under the radar, the intelligence radar of Israel and the Americans, and they are planning this thing for a long time. This is actually the strategy of General Qasem Soleimani, who was assassinated by the Americans. And he's the one who had this vision and created all these connections with the Iranian proxies in the Middle East. And now Iran is implementing his strategy.
Yes, now moreover about that, the word of mouth of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei have been tough on the one hand, but he only calls for temporary boycotts of Israel by Abraham Accords, Arab nations, but not really signaling military confrontation. Has he been intimidated by the U.S. aircraft carriers or everything that happens in the region? What's happening there?
Yeah, apparently the Iranians understand now that they cannot defeat Israel. They didn't expect the quick unity of the Israeli people to confront the Hamas attack. They didn't anticipate the strength of the army that will retaliate in such a successful way in Gaza Strip. They thought that Israel is going to fall apart because of the problems that were in Israel because of judicial reforms. But now Israel surprised them. Their estimation now is that Israel is not going to surrender, and Israel is not going to collapse. So now they're trying to cut the losses, and they are, of course, escalating in a very measured way because they know that the plan already failed.
Yes, Yoni, let's hope it keeps failing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.